in one lot, you could easily progress around the loop of line parking without having to do a lot of turning, leaving, and when the events are going on, you don't want people turning and trying to find places. It's a nice, easy flow out of the center where all the activity is going on is what you want to do. We looked at the streets and a real variety of street right-of-way conditions. And one of the things that we did, which is interesting, you see these little, this is parallel parking on both sides here. We took, we're recommending using tandem parking, where this enables people, this is just like on the pavement, and people can drive their car in, and they can back up and you can just drive out without stopping traffic while you maneuver a parallel parking situation. You may lose a parking space, a block, but you really reduce the kind of impact on traffic congestion with people parking, getting in and out of parking spaces. So that's one little technique we used. And where we put in angled parking. But in all cases, we were providing trees, identity, image, all this stuff, by the way, has, with the trees and shading, has a big impact on cooling the ambient temperature. In fact, with shade, you have 7 to 11 degrees ambient temperature difference. And surface temperature difference is something like 30 degrees. It's an amazing improvement, very noticeable when you have shade. This is just an image, actually it's a similar image, but it's this is in Round Rock. We focused on, as we do in most downtowns, the public realm, and that's the high image identity. The Washington Street, which is the sort of main street that goes right to the courthouse. We brought that out. To Highway 80, recommending a intersection improvement. So when you're driving through at 50 miles an hour or 60 miles an hour, you go. We also recommended putting back in medians, landscape medians in this section. So when you're driving along this whole length of highway, you all of a sudden go, whoa, something's happening here. And it is the downtown. And with some time, we actually worked with a wayfinding group out of Boston, and they came up with a whole wayfinding package for the whole area, from the freeways and circulation around. But this is the kind of thing you want to do. You're not hitting people over the head with signage so much as you're making them take notice by what you've done, and that's really important. So at any rate, people then know when they got to the downtown. We went through and some of the key intersections. We suggested where you just go out in the asphalt, and you can now you can just sort of stamp in brick patterns and stuff, and put the paint on it, and it's very durable, and it dresses it up, at low cost. We identified with these little buildings opportunities for wall art and that sort of thing that could support the character of the music with images. This sort of shows some of a lot of the public areas. One of the things they wanted, and as was talked about earlier, a public restroom facility. We identified that location. We actually worked with a major property owner in the downtown who just sort of willing to pull his parking lot back and provide a public washroom facility there, sort of in the center. There's an indoor public washroom facility down here, really important for special events. They had that thing built within 6 months of us doing the plan. That was a quick fix. And these were the indoor performance opportunities, varying sizes, and outdoor areas for performance. And it was really interesting when we were there one evening walking downtown. There was just a group of people whose banjo and guitar were just sort of in a doorway, just playing music. And so that sort of liveliness and activity is just really does something for an area. And they're planning on then having these programmed and sort of unprogrammed events going on in other places. We did, there's right in here, this a bank building that bank has moved out, sort of underutilized block. We're suggesting that at least that part be taken over for a long-term, a public venue. But we took a look at just that little connection there, because there's an existing park right there as a venue opportunity. And that's just, we did a little plan for a stage, and actually a lawn across the way, which sort of creates that sort of room. And it would be easy to cut off this block, close that block, and actually people with lawn chairs and everything just come out and fill it up and watch it perform. And that's a sort of elevation of what that could be like. And of course, if you went to the expense of putting a roof on it, it could extend the playing and activity there. This is that larger stage on that half of the block. The courthouse used to be surrounded by a green, and then people got excited about parking for cars, so they consequently kind of cut it all back and put these parking areas on. And we sort of suggested, well, go back to the green, because it's such an important civic space. And you have some opportunities here, just considering the Compass Bank building, to create a space across, to speak from that with civic space and police can face on. And so, and just an idea, but and also in consideration of a sort of master parking plan for downtown. But anyway, there was a very small reduction in the total number of parking spaces provided, but the huge image opportunity, the performance opportunities really made a huge difference by doing this. And the county actually even bargained for that stuff. We also, because housing is such an important thing downtown, to make it 24/7 and supporting the restaurants and retail activity. I mean, if there's housing there, for some reason with housing and restaurants and stuff, it attracts more people in. There's a synergy that goes along with that. So we identified some sites that could be easily where you could build house residential units on it. There's one of the property owners, I think right in here, had already gone in and renovated some buildings and put some apartment units in it. Really nice little project. So this is sort of the summary plan for that whole area. All the stars are performance venue opportunities. The red are really sort of key retail frontages in the downtown. Combined with all the parking and everything. So that's just some ideas that we've sort of explored with other communities. I see, you know, the work that you've done, the little video, you've done just fantastic ideas. Utilizing some of the railway lands for amenities. You've got so many things, so many opportunities that it becomes really important to just sort of get all this into sort of a real plan, a hard plan and implementation strategy so that you can achieve those things. It's kind of hard running around working on this deal or that deal and that deal. To get a good solid vision. But the most important thing about these plans are that it's something that's imageable, that you can share, you can sell, people can buy into, and it shows the long term, where we're trying to go. So everybody can get on board with that. And I think that's an important element. Anyway, I probably spoken too long.
Well, you've heard a lot of presentations. You've heard of everybody up here talking and telling you and giving you background information. Now it's time for you to get to work. So a few ground rules first, and we'll get started here. First of all, I'd like to ask, I think in the back, there's just a couple of you at just tables by themselves. Can you join another table closer up? The two of you all at the steps back there. You want to make sure there's enough people at each table. And actually the 3 or 4 of you all at other table, can you all move to another table and kind of, yeah, you all. I want to make sure there's enough people at each table so you have a good discussion. So the next thing is we have some students from PSTC that are helping us here. They're going to be the facilitators at some of the tables. And so I'd like those students to stand up real fast. They're going to be both facilitators and then some other ones that are going to be note takers. So I want to thank them for participating. They're learning a lot as part of their classes, but they're also participating and giving their ideas too. And they have a lot of great ideas. And they're the future, and they're the kind that we do plans like this for. We want them here. We want them to love Harlingen and stay here and want to spend a long time here. The other thing I want to say about them, when they're facilitating at your table, they're the bosses, okay? So you all treat them nice. Be nice to them. If not, I'll come after you. At every table, there's going to be one person facilitating and someone else taking notes. And we want whoever's taking the notes to write them down on that big pad there that's on each table, because we're going to put those up on the tables on the walls at the end. We're going to ask you all to come back and vote on what's been put on those sheets of paper. So make sure at your table you have a person who's going to write and take down notes. I found a shorthand writer. And then you each have an individual questionnaire. You can write down your own thoughts on that, on those questionnaires. And we want you to give those to us at the end of the meeting because we want to know your personal thoughts too as well. There's times put on the questionnaires. We're a little bit over time, so we're gonna adjust the times on that, and I'll tell you about that as we go along. So you can write your own notes on your own questionnaire that you have, but somebody has to write down. The note taker will write it in bigger lettering on the pads that are in front of you. All right? So I want you all in the next 10 minutes, so we're going to do this a little faster than the times on your sheet. Real quick, I want you all to spend a little time looking at the map on your table and just think about what you think about as the heart of Harlingen. You've seen presentations from specific districts. Just think about, where it is. We don't want an exact line. We just kind of want a circle around where you think the heart of Harlingen is. And think big. Don't think necessarily just one or two streets. Think about everything that can go into that. And then I want you to also talk among each other about your vision. You think about Harlingen, downtown, the core area, the heart of Harlingen in 20 years. I want you to put that into words for us. Don't try to draw it. Dennis can draw, we can draw, but I want you to put it into words for it. So I'm going to give you about 10 minutes for this first set of 2 questions.
Stepping stones to the entertainment area. The stepping stones.
Now that we've decided that this is really what we're talking about, this is too restrictive. The area we want is a plan. You can't have it. We're just kind of
If we had a city office like we're talking about.
This right here, you
Grandiose,
We got 40,000 units right now. 800.
So we're going to hear from the groups now, and we want to get your best ideas out of each group and the discussion you have. And we'll start with this fabulous group, and this is what? Group 1, over here. Group 6 is not feeling it.
Okay, well, our group has done like the overall fundraisers everybody else has, and we see that the Harlingen downtown area is lacking like the actual curb appeal. Like we need a lot of attractions to lead us into the downtown area. There might be like the bigger businesses that are growing on the outside of the town, but they need to lead more to the inner part of the town so that we can keep our people here. So like we even mentioned like a bed and breakfast or like certain things so people just come, stay, relax, chill, have a night, whatever. Oh, I was in Harlingen for 32 hours, not I was in Harlingen for 32 minutes. So, good example, I just thought of that one off the top of my head. Anyway. So, we do have the greatest deals of the food options and stuff. We just need more of a shopping center, stuff that stays open later, more of a nightlife, more entertainment, the different music venues, as we were saying, bigger monthly events, individual times or days, I guess, or whatever. Oh yeah, and a landmark, that's the whole yeah. So you can have one specific landmark. So for example, when people go to San Antonio, where do you go? Riverwalk. Yeah. So when we come to Harlingen, where do we want to go? Let's go to the mall. I want to go to the mall because Harlingen's mall is so fun. Yeah. Wow, what is in that mall? Oh, there's a big building there, and there's a big one here, and there's that thing in the middle. I don't know. But it's great. But you just need to have something more entertaining or something that stands out in the town.
Keep going to your time. You want to go first. All right. Group 6 just can't hold themselves.
We actually had the same idea. There's no real image to Harlingen. You just come and like she said, just for a little while and everything leaves. So we're thinking about the image of Arroyo, the Arroyo that we have here. You know, some people go kayaking and people don't feel safe down there because it's so, I should say creepy, but yes, and they want to tie it into the city to make it more unified. That was the main issue that we had. Yeah, with the green belt.
And what other kind of ideas for implementation or making it happen that you'll have?
Some of the other things we wanted to do was we felt like the city has a bus system, but we felt like as we expand the downtown area, we want something like a trolley that's going to be going around and around so that people can come downtown and then get around to the other areas. And with the green belts that we're going to make out of the railroads and then combine that with the Arroyo, and then if we have public transportation, that will help people to get around so we have that one park thing, so you just park one place. But you can get around everywhere to the new shops and all the entertainment and all the fun stuff that's going on. But we feel like we need those connections.
Let's go to this group over here. What group are you all? Group 2.
Our group 2, we came up with like connecting like all the parks together with like a trail or something, like a biking trail or a hike trail. That would be really nice around here. Also, something else that defines the city of Harlingen, like you got the two groups were saying earlier, a statue, an art, a mural, yes, more murals, something, yeah, that defines the city of Harlingen. That's what we need down here, and also life, more nightlife. Yes, basically we were just talking about the heart of Harlingen, defining that.
Any more thoughts from your group? Any more things that, great ideas or great issues, big issues to tackle?
We were also discussing having a food market like San Antonio. People gather around selling their food. Yeah.
It expanded.
Like a market day. People saying whatever.
Like the farmer's market,
yeah.
only expanded.
Like a food fair.
Yeah.
Food fair.
Yeah, we said, Fraser, I want Anthony Bourdain to do a food fair.
Great job, you too.
One more thing that we had in mind was all the abandoned buildings that are not being occupied, maybe doing something with that, enforcing some type of code or law, or maybe lowering the rent so other people can come in and do something with that, because I see a lot of buildings, or even if they're closed down, having us come in and paint them, have some volunteer community service or something of that nature.
We were also thinking about doing like gardens in the empty lots, like as community service, like or planting flowers or having like a butterfly garden.
Something more.
Right here in the middle. We'll go to you guys.
Well, our group was thinking about more on connection on how we can link out of downtown to each other. So we were thinking of having a main park connected to the rest of the parks. That way we can improve more people, not just using cars, but also using bikes and using walk trails. And to further with that, we can also improve everything else that can be used for that. For example, we have is like for the bus stations. We can, since we were thinking that more people would ride bikes, we would have more bike rails for the bus stations, and we can improve on that. And we were also thinking, we're also going to use a bike-friendly environment. And we also think that the murals that we have so far is attracting a lot of people. So we were thinking of promoting arts for more people to who love art to do their business here and that way we can have more people to come to our city. And and the one main thing that we wanted is a full service VA hospital for the veterans who come over here and they need some help, and we have a hospital dedicated to that.
A couple of them. A couple of things we also thought of were that it would really benefit Harlingen to have a mixed-use zoning code that encouraged living units above downtown businesses. Also, we thought that possibly the Greyhound Park could become a sports arena where maybe a soccer league played. There's a lot of adult soccer leagues and other soccer leagues that are really good, and it's really being underutilized. I don't know if that's possible, it's just an idea. We like Dennis's idea of creating an identity and image, a signage package for the city, not just a little levels each arches, but something that if we don't have the benefit of being a county seat or having a courthouse or any major defining architectural element in our city, but possibly we're also talking about increased security and patrolling of downtown. We even thought of the idea of maybe having police on horseback. But we did, whatever it is we came up with to be unique to Harlingen, or maybe it is just the Arroyo. Maybe it is, but whatever that element is, it's going to try to be our defining element, using that, like Dennis suggested, in the signage package to create a city identity. And being a business owner on the wrong side of the tracks, I also think it's a huge improvement and an incentive to Harlingen if the La Plaza district re-entered the downtown district. I think it would help incentivize other people to redevelop older buildings so that they could get absolutely bad mistake when they extracted themselves from that blue.
Anything else in this group? That's good? All right, great ideas. I think we're going to leave these two groups for the end. Wrap it up. Let's save the best for last. We'll go over here to wonderful group number 7.
No kidding.
All three of them kind of just give us this kind of summary. The highlights.
2 minutes.
1 minute.
We came up with a whole bunch of stuff that I think a lot of people are in agreement with. The need
Hello. This is Merced. Can you hear me now? All right. No, we share a lot of the ideas that have already been raised. When we were thinking about the heart of Harlingen, we considered every single piece of photograph in that map that you gave us. We thought that even the highlighted area was restrictive and that it was much more than that in a lot of neighborhoods. We thought that critical to this whole thing was the relocation of the railroad. And it's something that should be a priority and that we should somehow get done because it creates arbitrary divisions and it helps us not develop the community feel that we should have. We thought of green cities, the lack of signature landmarks, signature buildings, replacement or removal of blighted areas, arts, culture, murals, and grande. Those themes kept coming up throughout. We like the diversity, we like the eclectic nature, or the potentially eclectic nature. We want the form-based code enforcement because we need to somehow control the mix of commercial enterprises in the area. We like the corridors. We like actually that they're sort of virgin, that nothing is happening, and that there's a huge potential for redeveloping those into something really exciting. Involving landmarks, involving signature pieces that would help us create a Harlingen identity. Finally, one lonely person suggested something. that we should do. He wants to change the name of Harlingen because he's tired of telling people that he's from Harlingen and having to say Arlington. So anyway, we throw that out for consideration, respectfully.
Well, if they ask you, then all you have to do is it gives you a better chance to explain and tell them, okay, this is where we are.
Change it to Arlington.
All right, great job, group number 7. Going back here, this is group number 8. Who's speaking for group number 8?
We have all the answers. No, actually, we agree with so many of y'all. More than anything, we agree that Harlingen is more than just a place. It's our home. In order to give you, or preface this, I thought I'd just add this. When we were kids, we used to walk to downtown. So that was our heart. Harlingen already has a heart, and it is all of this area here. Now, the sad part about it is that there's so much division. It is inconsistent from this side to beyond the tracks. Everything from the inconsistency of the sidewalks and the way it looks. If you meander walk over there, you'll see that the sidewalks kind of drop off abruptly. We also see that Harlingen can be a jewel because we have beautiful parks. We have beautiful parks that can accent downtown Harlingen. The corridors that we have are great, but how great would it be if they all pointed to downtown Harlingen? Not necessarily in signage, but having statues or something that tells about Harlingen, having maybe even different events at every park that, again, point to the heritage of Harlingen. And we came up with a lot more, and I think she'll be telling you right now.
It was okay. It was the entertainment. I do feel that Harlingen, it has all the schools, and you bear down. That's the one thing that you've noticed since, I guess, a while back now till now. It's 5 schools that have gone up, and they're still remodeling. There's still a lot of education here, and you can tell that Harlingen is all about the children and education, but we still need something /Harlingen, just like they were all saying. The entertainment, which there's none, and you do get it, but it's not here. You have to go out either to McAllen, the Island, Brownsville, somewhere to get it, and I think Harlingen is just as big as any other town, but we really need to focus and make it a priority just like the others. That's why people go to San Antonio. That's why people go to these other cities, and we can make it just as good. But if we just, really concentrate on that, that's what I think. I don't know.
I also wanted to go ahead and add that the whole concept of Harlingen being that of a family-friendly place, where a family can go not only to downtown, but to every park around here, even Gutierrez Park. Because as we discussed earlier, when we pass Gutierrez Park, we don't know if that fence is supposed to be subconsciously telling us keep out or stay in. But those are little things, and those little things that we have to be mindful of. But more than anything, I think we're making a great step towards progress. And of course, it won't necessarily be for me, but it'll be for us.
I'd like to nominate Group 8 to be the spokespeople for Harlingen. That's very well said, thank you. But it's echoed a lot of what the other groups were talking about as well. All right, like I said, we saved the best for last. This is group number 9 over here, and who's speaking for number 9? All right.
Hi, good morning. We actually had a very interesting debate. Yes, it was. But we had 2 actually, well, various different perspectives, but the point that we hit on most of all is my perspective and their perspective, which is Harlingen has a very untapped and very unique population. It has a tremendous amount of people who come into the city to become educated. We're going to medical facilities. We're coming in to, we go to school during the day. However, what happens is there is not necessarily a connection to the downtown area. So what happens is, to me, the focus of this meeting is Harlingen's vitality, not just today, but 10 years in the future. And the vitality of any community is its ability to attract and to retain. It's population. And I know that many, and I'll be 100% honest, many of myself and peers, a lot of my conversations are, we love Harlingen. We love being here during the day and going to class and doing what we need to do. But there are no plans to stay. And some of the reasons for that is that, I was mentioning this to Bill, that come nighttime when it's time to, for instance, have a cup of coffee and talk about your day, this area is fantastic, but it's not accessible. There's not somewhere where we can come to a sidewalk cafe and have a cup of coffee or have dinner and talk about what the future is. So then that ties into 5 years from now, where am I going to be with my family, and is it going to be a region that's accessible for me to live? So those are some of the ideas that we focus on, because in all honesty, a lot of your untapped population, I mentioned, I don't see the heart of Harlingen on this map only. It is part of the heart of Harlingen, but you have another contingency in many other areas that don't know the jewels that are here. Like I myself come to Lupitas and Shadi Fufu, but I've lived here my whole life. You have a big population of people that are coming into the city to come become professionals, but then they leave. They leave. So that's a really important thing. He says, ask what you consider entertainment.
Well, I'm going to ask everything.
Oh, okay. But yes, and like table 8 mentioned, there is not that connection to nightlife. And it's not just clubs and bars. It has nothing to do with that. It's what Pilates offers you already. That's a jewel. But there needs to be more of that available in all these spots all around this area. That's our perspective.
So I do want to follow up with that because Bill's question is a good one, and especially the younger folks that are here. So we talked about entertainment, and so I would say you got blues on the hill. You start to label all the things you have for entertainment. You have a ton of stuff, but maybe there's more of one thing or more of something else or more of everything that's needed. So I'd like to ask that just for some of the younger folks here, for some of the ones that talked about it earlier. What do you mean when you say entertainment? Give us a little bit more of specifics of that. Just to stand up and tell us. Don't be shy.
Well, there are a lot of people now, like my age, who are willing to do more than just hang out. They also want to perform art, they want to perform music. And I know a lot of people would love to do that. So what we could do as like that is a group of us going to the city of Harlingen as a community service to beautify Harlingen in the way we can do it. We can have events of us playing our own type of music as an entertaining family and friends. We can have art shows that not only just in events, but we can also be like in buildings that can attract more people. We can also like write books to attract more people as to these artists who wrote these great stories came from the city of Harlingen. So in my, from what I can see, that we have a lot of potential to do so many things for entertainment.
It almost sounds like you're talking about like a downtown center where the students can come and you can come and you can have different things, and it's changing all the time. It really needs stuff happening.
I'm not young enough.
That's okay.
No, we put down, one of the things that we put down was art center / studio in the downtown area, in the heart of Harlingen. There are so many communities that have used the arts in a number of ways, as entertainment, as a bridge to educational opportunities, as a way of tapping or connecting with the underserved. Art centers and art communities do all of those things if they are done well and if they're supported by the community. And we need that. We also have a thriving art community here in the Valley that does not have a home. I know they talk about Brownsville, they talk about McAllen.
Harlingen is an art center, art part of the entire Valley.
We can pick that identity if that's what we want. And I think that there are a number of people who want that because the arts can benefit all of these other areas.
But it's not just, I'm sorry, it's not just the community center, it's the idea of having the old-fashioned coffee house kind of thing where you can go and read your books or your reader's slam stuff. And in my day, it used to be, play Dylan songs. But
you're right.
But it's having those kinds of, those are private enterprises.
Yeah, and those things support each other.
We also talked about the lack of entertainment for an alternative. And the fact that a lot of the old folks here love to go to music and love to go, to listen to music. Probably, and there are not a whole lot of venues to do that. And so they go. But they go then to other cities. So there is, obviously, from the discussion, a lack of entertainment opportunities for all of us.
And one way that Nancy was saying, it's economic generated. And when you start looking at it from a regional perspective, then it makes a lot of sense. We're promoting the city central proximity to manufacturers, to people that are interested in placing business. So this just kind of goes with that type of market.
Let me get a couple of students here.
I would like to that. I think you guys talked about adding more time to the insurance part. And maybe we could start like a community project where people go there and like with their children and the parents and everybody goes there to make their little site that they can put in. And that's one way to get privacy. And maybe continue with the murals, something like that. Something to add like a little bit of identity, something that we
I think there was one more person in the back.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out the fact that all of this art or entertainment is great, all of it, as long as it entails everyone, families. Because as I mentioned earlier, we would walk to downtown. We have so many houses around here that we're missing the bus. We're missing the bus. Over there as well, people don't have cars. Give them a reason to come. Give them a reason, whether it's to read poetry, whether it's to tell stories or hear stories, encompass everyone.
Well, one of the ideas that I think I heard everybody talking about was the idea of creating a signature transportation, trolley, tram, carts, whatever, for the heart of Harlingen district. Not that transportation is needed to get to the medical areas, needed to transport our community to those areas where they need to go to. But I just have something that's peculiar and a signature of the area, peculiar to and a signature of the area.
Kind of that landmark and that kind of element.
Yeah. Landmark trolleys.
Okay, a couple more comments, we'll go to this group.
Yeah, just reflecting off of what we talked about the arts. Some years ago, Mayor, you remember, we hired an economic development consultant, and he said that we should create place as our beginning, our home, to develop Harlingen's future. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. We just reached the point finally where we understanding have a consensus about developing place and what we want to be. And I think that's what we can start to build on.
Okay. I think we had that.
I was just going to rephrase it from the mixture of everything together. It's like, that's what I was talking about in the beginning, whenever we could just do something like a monthly event. I mean, yeah, it might attract some attention to the downtown area, but like, you know, we could do like the certain themes of like the art and the music and certain studios. But then there's going to be some people that are honestly going to get bored of it if you see it every single day. If you give it rarely, sometimes people won't notice it as much, but that's when you have to broadcast it out and say, hey, every Saturday or every weekend on this specific day or this time or every third weekend or something, you know, we have this events going on, and then as you bring more people in or something, it kind of like makes it more of something than just a little small category of art or a mural or anything, you know. It actually really kind of promotes it better, so.
And I think this guy, did you all want to ask? No? One more. Okay, this young lady here.
Well, with everything being said, I'm very impressed to hear about the arts and the art is so much interest out there. You may or may not know that here in Harlingen on A Street, for the younger generation, we opened up an art gallery, Beyond Arts Gallery. It is a contemporary art, and we cater to the artists. And we also, you mentioned a book, publishing a book. We also have that availability. It is called Sarah Book Publishing. We are located in Harlingen, and as of November 15th, which is yesterday, we will have news to present about our Sarah Book Publishing, where we will help authors publish your books here locally. We've already published about over 50 authors and over 70 books. Really nice. And so come by this afternoon. We're open till 3, and we have a book sale going on. You mentioned about overwhelming with too many events, and that's probably true. You get bored. We're going to start having them probably quarterly. Art shows with a specific artist or an array of artists, and you get to talk and meet and greet the artists. So having said that, I welcome you to come by 11 to 7 every day, closed on Sundays and Mondays.
Okay, one more back there, and then we'll go to this group.
Well, as far as the entertainment, my vision for, or the plan for the theater is actually to have a live performance venue for entertainment, because there's not really too many places that you can go on a date, you know, just to kind of hang out. And so the theater was actually going to house live performances, which I'm actually finishing up several original musicals and plays. And also comedy hour. There's going to be talent shows like the aficionados that were there before. We can bring that back, have our own little X Factor or something. Also get touring companies that come from around. I would love to actually, for the adults, to see a very tasteful burlesque show come from Las Vegas or California, you know, and also have Disney musicals for the entire family, but just to be an all-encompassing sort of day for people to not have to go to the bars, or not have to go to Houston and pay for a hotel to go see a musical, or to Dallas, or, you know, to invite people to come here, because we are going to have very wonderful opportunities for art itself. I'm a performer, and I have a production company, and that's one of the main things that's going to go up immediately upon the renovation of the theater. So I'm glad that everybody's seeking entertainment, you know, very tasteful entertainment value here in the city, and I think that's a great opportunity to bring the rest of the valley and even South Texas to take note of our area here, which we like so much.
All right, thank you. Maybe take number 7, and then we'll have another round of comments.
I'm going to tell you, going last sucks. You always said it. But you, write that down, Bill. But we agree with everything, and we probably talked about everything at this table, but we're going to talk about some things that we think will help the heart of our city downtown. One is we lack signage telling us where downtown is. We also, and I love you, Mayor, we're going to change the name from Harlingen to Boswellville. But the City Hall, we think, needs to have a little more of, if we want to develop the business attitude, they need to have a little more can-do, positive attitude. And I know the rules and regulations coming down from Washington kind of tie their hands, but we need to have a little kind of...
Daniel said that.
Huh?
Tell Daniel said that.
I love, no, don't do that. Yeah. The corridor's fine as long as the lights are in sync, everything goes great there. We think that one of the best things that we have going, and we can be a destination city, because Market Days proves that. When you see people come specifically to Harlingen for Market Days, you know, but we do need public restrooms. That is really a must thing that we have to do. We think sidewalk cafes, like you all have mentioned. Another thing, and I had to work with some of the business downtown when I had Glory Bees, but we must have consistent business hours. If we're going to be a destination, come downtown, and I want to go to one of these cute little specialty shops. And that's why I like the downtown, is I don't want to get down there at 4 o'clock and they went home. That really is aggravating. I'm not going to come back. Teamwork's good. Easy, closer parking downtown. We think maybe just the downtown EDC to be made up of people that might help work that. We also think that the city ought to furnish a grant writer to help with all of the people that talked today, La Pasita, everything that we want to do. Family type things. We have got to get more family type things. Working at the country club, we know that I'm on a committee there, and we've been doing things for the family, and we don't have enough room. They just don't have any place to take their teenagers or their young kids, and why not? We're sitting on a gold mine by bringing them downtown. And then avoid blight. We need maybe another code enforcement officer. You know, damned if you do and damned if you don't. We don't like it if the codes go against us, but we do need more code enforcement officers, because some people, they must work on their buildings downtown, because you're only as pretty as the worst looking building in your town.
I'm going to ask Dennis to give us a few thoughts on just what he's heard and kind of some inspiration for us. But before I do that, I want to make sure everybody should have 8 little dots in front of you. And Dennis is going to talk for just a few minutes. We're not going to keep you much longer, don't worry. The mayor's going to, I think, give us that, and then after that we'll go around and vote. So don't leave yet. The doors are still locked. So a few more minutes.
I really don't have much to say, except that I'm really excited about the ideas you all are coming up with. I think that fits right into creating a great and vital downtown. Certainly the arts and things, this is the kind of place to have that, the performance center, the visual arts. This is it. You've got it. I know Bill has been looking at ideas for stuff, and stuff on. This is really exciting. I'm just thrilled, and to keep this discussion going, because we need to get these kinds of ideas into a real plan, so that we can move forward and realize that plan. I know we've kept you past time, so I'm going to turn it over to the mayor.
Thanks. And I want to say one more thing. There are opportunities, things here. You've got great opportunities. One of the things with the city is to try to leverage those opportunities. So when you have an opportunity, take advantage of that, and then as something happens, you can leverage other things that happen and have a better ripple effect coming off that. So you have these long-term benefits coming up. So if you do one thing, what else does it affect around it? How can you make everything else around it better? And that's part of any great plan, whether it's the overall plan or something that's more focused on the downtown area. So I want to tell you too, that echo what Dennis said, that there's some great things already happening. And in many cases, you have the example already here. For example, we talk about parking lots that are attractive parking lots that benefit, they create the parking, but they're not sort of just this piece of asphalt. You've got the city parking lot that's right back here, which has a really nice fence around it. You've got buildings like this that have been renovated. You've got the lofts. There's several great examples that, again, you know, if you saw them, you'd be like, wow, I want to live there. It's fantastic places. You've got buildings that have been renovated, like the Reeds. You've got all these great examples. You've got the streetscape out here in Jackson Street, which is wonderful. You've got opportunities to look at City Hall and how does it grow, and how does the next City Hall of the future come into play. Somebody mentioned sports, and I didn't even think about that. What if you had like a little place for like a little small court or you could play soccer downtown, you know, the little short courts. Gets people down there, they play, then they go to the coffee shop, or they go to that restaurant and eat there. There's activity. Some of these younger guys talked about bringing music. So there's so many great opportunities, and I think they're here. The ideas are here. It's just a matter of how do we corral those and make them even better than they are, and kind of take that forward as we go along. So before the mayor lets us stand up, the dots that you have in front of them, I want you to take one dot, don't do this yet, one dot, and pick the best boundary, or the one that you like the best of all the maps that are over there in the corner, one dot only. You got to pick out of those 8 maps or 9 maps that are there. I want you to take a couple of dots and put them on this one over here, a couple of dots over here on question number 3. So remember, if things are repeated quite a bit, I think a lot of you have similar ideas. So pick 2 separate things that you really like, that you like what that statement is saying, and then a couple more over here. And if you're like most of us and you want to vote even more than the number of dots we've given, we have tons of dots. We want to know what you think and what you like the best about the things that everybody wrote down and the way they communicated those ideas. So there may be one specific idea or one word that says, yes, this means, because then that helps us and helps anybody else who's putting this into the plan and into future plans. It helps kind of give that direction that tells us this is where we want to go with this. So don't leave before you do that for us, okay? Just take a few minutes and just go around and there's more. I think there's some leftover tacos over there you can have. We really want that. We also want your questionnaires that you filled out, leave those on the table for us, because that gives us some individual thoughts that you may have had from that. So with that, the doors are still locked.
What about my prize? I'm going to get my prize.
Yeah, that's right. Prize is first.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Steve. I didn't want, everybody got a ticket, and then we're going to let you go home without knowing what that was for. Well, it's for 3 $25 gift certificates for the local restaurants in the downtown area. One is for New York Deli, one is for Java Cafe, and one is for the Rio Grande Grill. But I don't have any assistants to pull the tickets. Are you working on that over there? Before we leave also, you noticed a lot of young faces in this room. Could you all please stand up? Students from TSTC. They came to be facilitators and note takers, but you can see that they took ownership of the discussion and they have wonderful ideas to share with us, and I think we really need to listen to them because they're our future after all. The other thing, several of the students asked, what about those scholarships? Well, through Adele Clinton, the student life coordinator at TSTC, she's setting up a booth there in your student hall to be able to take the surveys. So stop by and fill the surveys in, or you go online directly with your own books and what have you, and fill it out, tellmeharlingen.com. You are as eligible as anybody else, and you're welcome to fill that out. Are we ready for the...
Let's ask one of the students to be the first to draw.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Why don't you guys, you two come over here.
All right. The first one is for New York Deli.
The winner is
422-186.
186.
186. Who's got 186? All right, this one is for Java Cafe.
That's awesome.
Okay, 4222 13.
213. Who's got 213? Here we go, right? Java Cafe. And the last one is for Rio Grande Grill.
2183.
20. The last three.
183.
183. Who's got 183? All right. If you haven't been since the Rio Grande Grill opened up, it's kind of a cool, eclectic place over there. A lot of fun to go and have.
And if you weren't hungry, you'll be hungry when you get there because it smells so good.
We know we got to give the mic over to our mayor because we're running late. But you know what? It was wonderful. It was very exciting to see and hear all the things that are going on. The excitement, the tremor in the voices of some of the individuals in there was beautiful.
And who's taking the survey? Another show of hands. Come on. Who's taking the survey?
Raise your hands.
Okay, let me ask it another way. Put your hands down. Who has not taken the survey? Raise your hand.
Not taken the survey.
Okay, come on. What's taking you so long? You got to take that survey and tell your friends, okay? We need more people taking that survey.
Okay, I want to point to something real quick, and I'm walking over to Mayor Boswell. As you know, a lot of positive things are happening in the city of Harlingen, and that's because we've got great leadership in our city through Mayor Chris Boswell. And in talking to people as we're doing this process, there's kind of like a silent excitement, a quiet excitement that's in a lot of people's hearts. I just think that it's time to stop being silent about it. Because we're excited about Harlingen and the things that we're doing in Harlingen. We ought to be talking it up really big. So I just invite you to be a part of this process and just keep working with us. The next one is very important. Our mayor is going to lead us in it. It's a TSDC. It's economic vitality, and it's going to address some of the elements that he was talking about in his introduction. And so we want to. It's a crescendo of all the things that we've been doing. Very important because economic vitality means that all these great ideas that we have become possible. We're in this cusp of wonderful things to come for the city of Harlingen, and I think we owe it to our leadership that it's happening. Thank you very much.
I'm going to be really, really short. I just want to thank Jesse Robles for giving great leadership to this process. Probably give a round of applause to Jesse. And the entire committee, everybody who's been working. Thank you to all the presenters this morning. Great presentations this morning. And thank you to each of you for being here this morning. We've had 3 of these forums so far, talked about a lot of great things, had a lot of great discussion. I think the discussion this morning was the best that we've had so far. I think it's because we had all these young people here. It's been great. You all have a great day, great afternoon, and we'll see you next time, January the 19th, okay? And keep giving us input. The doors are still locked. You got to do your dots. Doors are locked.